The past is the one thing, if constantly reflected on, that can really hold you back from so many new business opportunities and really just furthering your life in general. And the way that I like to look at it, you really can have a new reality with the old mentality. In order to see change come into your life, in order for you to fully move on, you really just have to learn to let go of the things that's holding you back. And I know based on my experience that it's a lot easier said than done. Many of us have years and years worth of attachments that we're just clinging on to because we feel the need to be validated. But you have to validate yourself for once. You have to put yourself in that state of mind where you realize that the longer that I hold on, the longer I am going to be without the things that are actually meant for me. You don't realize while you're in that position how much you're changing. You don't realize how much that situation is impacting your overall state of mind until you finally remove yourself. Love can really blind you. Love is the one thing that could put you in a position where you know better, but you still choose to make those poor decisions. You still choose to live in that moment because you just feel a sense of comfort there. And with that being said, we really just have to learn how to choose us. We have to learn how to choose our future. And this was one of my biggest problems for the longest time because you don't necessarily understand in that very moment that it's either your future or this moment, whatever's going on at this very moment. The longer that you allow yourself to be put in that position is just you postponing where you should be. Imagine just waiting on the bus stop and seeing buses pull up like, okay, you ready to get in? And you're just like, nah, go ahead. And you do this for years and years and years at a time, just missing up on that opportunity for you to take that bus to your ultimate destination, missing out on that chance for you to reach those points in your life that you know that you should be at. But you can never have a new reality with an old mentality. You have to learn how to change the way that you're thinking. You have to learn how to put yourself in a position where you may be unfamiliar with what's going on and really just make adjustments and adapt. That's the only way that you're going to get a new outcome. That's the only way that you're going to be able to fully transform and transition from this point of comfort that you may be in. And I was scrolling on YouTube the other day and I had ran into somebody called Trail the Trainer. And a lot of y'all may be familiar with him. He's like a life, let's just say, he gives you tips on life. He's somebody similar to me, I guess you could say. And I ran into this video and he was speaking on how he pretty much got out of this poverty mindset and how he transitioned from his old way of thinking into his new way of thinking. And one thing that he said that really stood out to me is that he didn't allow himself to be entertained by things that really weren't going to provide him any value in a sense. So that could be friendships, that could be relationships. He completely changed his state of mind from this form of dopamine that we constantly chase on the regular basis to really just learning or just locking in and grinding the entire time. And he said this is how he solved a lot of his financial problems. This is how he solved a lot of majority of problems that were just going on around him, is just making sure that he wasn't necessarily in the wrong place at the wrong time and he was doing what he needed to do more consistently than not. And this really just opens up my mind to the concept of not being 1 foot in and 1 foot out with the things that you're choosing to do. Because if you're 1 foot in, 1 foot out, you're never really going to get the best result that you want. And it's simply because you are not changing the way that you think. You think that you can have your cake and eat it too. You think that you can be 1 foot in and 1 foot out and still get the best results possible. But in reality, that is not how it works. In order for you to fully transition and move on, you have to make a conscious decision that changes what you want and changes what you're going to go for. And in order to do that, you have to change the way that you think. You have to change the way that you perceive the world around you. And not everybody is going to agree with this version of change that you may be seeking. And that's okay, because you shouldn't live for the approval of others. More than anything, you should focus on what you have going on and understand that you just doing what's best for your life. You making these adjustments, you choosing to be better, you choosing to not do the things that you did previously because you want a different outcome for your life. Why is that a problem? That shouldn't be a problem to anybody. So if there's somebody around you that has an issue with that, then they ultimately just don't want to see you in the best position possible. But this sense of letting go, not only to your old way of thinking, but just everything that's holding you back, is just much harder than people really expect it to be. You don't realize how tied you are to your environment until you finally move out. You don't realize how tied you are to certain people until they're no longer in your life no more. Just think about any breakup that you may have went through. At first, when you're in that position where you may have them around you consistently, you feel like you can live without them. You may feel like if they left, it wouldn't be a big deal, just thinking ahead of time, right? But as soon as something happens and that person goes away, then you realize how much you missed them. I didn't necessarily understand how attached and how family oriented I was until I moved away to the military and I was gone away from my family for a couple years. And that's when I really realized how much of an impact they had on my life. We all seem to open our eyes when the things that we see may not affect us the most suddenly happen, when they suddenly disappear, when we suddenly don't have access to things that we're familiar with. So changing our values and our mentality will put us in a position to be able to change our reality. You don't have to be perfect to make progress. And as long as you understand that, then progression will constantly be something that's coming into your life because you're able to see it through. There hasn't been a single moment in my life where I was I don't want to say chasing this form of perfection, because I understand with me being a human being, like being able to let things go, you have to learn this. You have to learn how to be alone. You have to learn how to put yourself in a position where you may not necessarily have the things that you feel like you ultimately need. That's why I feel like this version of, I forgot the word, but it's something aligned with like fasting or just kind of detoxing from everything that you're familiar with. It's very important. You have to train yourself to be away from the things that you value the most or the things that you feel like you need the most, because at some point when they do go away, it will not hit you as hard. You will not be put in that position where you feel like you're going to lose it all because the one thing that you're so comfortable with, the one thing that you're so used to having around is finally gone, and now you don't know how to act. Really just take that into account. But take the time today to really choose your future. Take the time today to choose the future you over really what's going on now. The temporary things that you may be chasing, the things that you may be indulging in that aren't going to provide you any value. At some point, you're going to wake up and you're going to realize that you have to let them go. This version of partying, this version of being out and just chasing this thrill, I had to let this go in order to put myself in that new state of mind so I could prosper. I didn't understand how much that had an impact on my life until I wasn't doing it no more. I didn't understand how much dealing with women had an impact on my life until I wasn't doing it no more. Or not even dealing, but just this form of entertaining women. We all have outlets and we all have things that we cling on to for comfort. But at this grown age, we shouldn't be chasing this form of comfort. We should be chasing this form of success and growth, especially mentally, which can ultimately just transform our reality and our lives. And one thing that really stood out to me about this sense of letting go and kind of just moving on with your life is that I haven't been put in a position, not once, where I let go of something and I regretted it. And I think the reason behind that is just the growth that you experience putting yourself in that position where you may be uncomfortable. The growth you experience being without things that you felt like you needed all the way up until this point. Things are not always going to go your way, especially when you're on this growth journey and you're trying to reach new high points. But if you can allow yourself to get comfortable in uncomfortable positions, then this is like one of the ultimate keys to really just reaching new heights in your life, because it just really opens many doors for you when you're able to let things go without being bothered, or without showing at least that you're bothered. But this new version of yourself that you're trying to unlock, this new lifestyle that you may want to live, is really all on the other side of you changing the way that you think. And a lot of the times we feel as if we have to go move far away, or we have to cut off every friend that we have. This isn't even necessarily always the case. Like I said in my other videos, a lot of the times we have to start by changing the way that we think. Once you change the way that you think, it could change a lot around you, even without you physically getting up and moving or removing yourself out of people's lives. Once there's certain things that you realize that you can't accept no more, or certain ways that you feel like you can't live, and you make those adjustments, a lot will change without you even having to do anything physically. So really just start there. Really start with the respect and transitioning and changing your morals and the things that you know just aren't providing you any value. And this will change a lot in your current state. At some point, you have to learn to treat yourself like the treasure in life that you're constantly chasing. You have to learn to see the value in yourself even when nobody else does. Because if you can do that, then you can go anywhere in this world and nobody will be able to tear you down, because you know that you're worth it. You know that you are worthwhile, and nobody is going to tell you anything differently. I feel like if you don't think about yourself this way, then you just have work to do, like we all do. But You have to really treat yourself like a valuable person, like a human being, in order for you to kind of even get to this point of life where you're flourishing in that sense. But above all, you really just have to learn to let go. Let go of your past self in order to reach those new high points. Let go of anything that's been holding you back so that you could flourish in the future. But if you made it to the end of the video, I just want to say thank you so much. It's your boy Blue Jay Tay. Drop a like, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see y'all on the next one. Peace.